Urgent Commanders fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest Commanders news. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Adam Peters stuns Commanders fans with bombshell reported trade inquiry. Adam Peters is still being aggressive. The Washington Commanders made one bombshell trade at the cornerback position last season to formally announce their return to prosperity. A new report suggests Adam Peters is considering another major addition to his secondary. Peters doesn't have much in the way of disposable assets right now. The Commanders have 5 draft picks after landing wide receiver Deebo Samuel Sr. and left tackle Laramie Tunsil via trade this offseason. Most don't expect the front office leader to make another big splash on a proven veteran performer. That doesn't mean he's dismissed the notion entirely. And according to one insider, the Commanders have inquired about what it might take to bring all-pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey into the fold. Commanders among teams who've reportedly called about Jalen Ramsey, Armando Salguero from Outkick revealed that Washington and several others have been in touch with the Miami Dolphins regarding Ramsey, who's been made available for trade. He outlined that the compensation wouldn't be a problem, even for the Commanders, but the financial side of things is the most complicated obstacle to overcome. Ramsey wants to be on a winner. The Dolphins have talked to the Rams, Falcons, Lions, Commanders, Eagles, and others. The problem here is not draft compensation. Ramsey, if traded, may go for a 5th-round pick or thereabouts. The issue is the $25.2 million Miami would have to swallow in dead cap if the trade happens before June 1st, so any team wanting to make this trade now might be asked to provide the Dolphins with some cap relief on that number. Armando Salguero, the Commanders are right to make calls. That doesn't mean they'll take the bait, but Peters is aggressive enough to not rule anything out before finding out for sure. Ramsey remains among the league's best coverage presences, has a shutdown presence at the peak of his powers, and a sterling contributor against the run. His arrival would see the Commanders go into the season with one of the league's most prolific cornerback fivesomes. Even so, this remains highly unlikely. If the Commanders hadn't acquired Lattimore, Samuel, and Tunsil, it's a different story. That's not the case, so giving up another pick and taking on another substantial contract just doesn't seem feasible. Not when there is already so much money committed to the 4-time Pro Bowler out of Ohio State. What this does prove is Peters won't be taking his foot off the gas just because the Commanders aren't rich in draft assets. He'll stop at nothing to make sure everything is in place for Washington to make another bold postseason bid next time around. That much is abundantly clear. If it means another trade, that's a price Peters is willing to pay. Pausing this news, just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Commanders news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Commanders general manager reveals willingness to trade with Giants. The New York Giants may find a willing trade partner in the Washington Commanders during the NFL draft. The New York Giants have found themselves in a predicament. With the number 3 pick, they seem poised to take Penn State edge rusher Abdul Carter, one of the 2 best prospects in the class, and an excellent pass rusher destined to find success with Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence by his side. However, passing up on Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders will keep the team's long-term quarterback plans unfinished. That's the right choice given their consensus rankings and overall upside, but general managers can only survive so long without a franchise quarterback. As such, New York is linked to numerous trade opportunities, hoping to move up in round 1 to take Alabama's Jalen Milroe or Mississippi's Jackson Dart. Of course, it takes 2 parties to make a deal, and there's no guarantee. The most obvious candidates, like what Joe Schoen has to offer, the Washington Commanders might, prompting the question of whether they'd be willing to give a rival a shot at a round 1 rookie quarterback. Commanders general manager Adam Peters recently revealed his willingness to trade with NFC East rivals like the Giants at his pre-draft press conference. You think about that, but I think it's like a lot of things. Case by case, Peters said. What is the trade? What is the best move for your team? I don't personally believe in being scared about trading with a team within your division. If you think the trade is good value for you and you can get some good picks to help your team get better, then definitely consider it. Some cases it won't be. Some cases it will be that we don't want to do that for whatever reason. But I don't think we'll ever shy away from that, taking those calls. A lot of times you'll have a lot of trades kind of lined up In that particular instance, the Eagles trade was by far the best trade in terms of value that we got, so we made that trade. Last season, Washington received a handful of picks from Philadelphia for the rights to draft cornerback Cooper DeJean. The Commanders eventually used their day two picks from that deal to draft corner Mike Sainristil and tight end Ben Sinnott, a reasonable swap in hindsight. New York doesn't pose the threat that Philadelphia does, and Peters is willing to keep the door open for Schoen in the event the right deal comes to fruition. Whether or not there's a premium on in-division trades is yet to be seen, but Washington cannot be ruled out of the Giants' plans on draft night. Proposed trade sends Commanders' first-round pick to AFC North. While it's almost impossible to dampen the enthusiasm around any NFL draft, it's also okay to admit some years are more exciting than others. Coming off a draft in 2024 that set records for most quarterbacks picked in the first round, as well as most offensive players picked to open the first round, and offensive players picked total in the first round, 2025 was bound to be a bit of a letdown. That doesn't mean there can't still be some fireworks, and ESPN's Field Yates predicts the Washington Commanders and Cleveland Browns could be behind what would amount to the biggest story of the draft. Yates' prediction has the Commanders trade the number 29 overall pick in the first round to the Browns in exchange for the Browns' second-round pick, number 34 overall, and a fourth-round pick, number 104 overall, so the Browns can select Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. It's a move might actually melt the internet, as it would reunite Sanders with his college teammate and the Browns' projected number 2 overall pick in wide receiver cornerback Travis Hunter. It would also help the Commanders get some sense of balance back by adding another pick. Washington enters the draft with only 5 picks total. Sanders, my number 16 overall player, would reunite with Hunter, Yates wrote on April 24th. Predicting landing. Spots for quarterbacks beyond Cam Ward has proved difficult this year. But if Sanders gets past Pittsburgh at number 21, Cleveland could get good value here. He's accurate and throws with touch, and he'd improve the Browns' QB outlook. They currently have Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett, with Deshaun Watson out because of a torn Achilles. Sanders dropping like rock, headed into draft. The general viewing public could be in for an Aaron Rodgers-esque fall for Sanders in the first round after his draft stock has gone down like the Hindenburg over the last month. When the evaluation process started in January, we were speaking like who would be the quarterback to go first, and it was a toss-up between Ward and Sanders, ESPN's Ryan Clark said, on First Take on April 24th. But that separation was created pretty quickly, but sometimes you can fall to a better situation, and it's not where you were drafted, but who you were drafted to. If it's just about the numbers, Sanders has few peers. Over 4 college seasons at Jackson State and Colorado, he made 50 starts, threw for 1,437 yards, 135 touchdowns, and 27 interceptions, while completing 71% of his passes. In 2024, Sanders threw for a career-high 4,134 yards to go with 37 touchdowns and a career-high 10 interceptions. The main criticism of Sanders seems to be over his demeanor. One anonymous NFL assistant coach's quote about Sanders in a story from NFL.com's Tom Pelissero caught fire in the days leading up to the draft. The worst formal interview I've ever been in my life, the assistant coach told Pelissero about Sanders. He's so entitled. He takes unnecessary sacks. He never plays on time. He has horrible body language. He blames teammates. But the biggest thing is, he's not that good. And now, Commanders fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Commanders. I'll be back any moment. With more Commanders news, we want Dallas.